So then you traveled, as I remember, there 36 states.
Yes.
Out of the 48 that
Yes, we
existed
did.
then, you became familiar with.
Yeah, we became familiar with all of them. All the way from northern Vermont and New Hampshire. It's a little interesting there. I got into a little language problem in the northern part of New Hampshire and Vermont because Quebec is the province north of New Hampshire, and they still speak French there. Yeah. And so when I got in that area, I began to run into some people that I would have a little trouble understanding. Well, and then I've been visiting them a little bit. I was told that some of those young American farmers would go over and court those French-speaking girls and marry them and bring them back over into the States and hope they never learned to speak English. But of course, when they started raising a family, the children could always interpret for me. But it was interesting.
Yeah, I can remember you talking about how beautiful you thought Vermont was.
Oh yes, pretty country. Yeah, yeah, Vermont. They called it the White Mountain State, and I mean New Hampshire's the White Mountain, Vermont the Green Mountain State. Of course, I found out that when we think of the eastern seaboard, it's the Appalachian Mountains. Appalachia. Well, everybody over 25 or 30 miles, the natives have a different name for them.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, Adirondacks, the Poconos, the Smokies. Well, I've lost a couple names now, but the natives had their names for the area in there.
Well, and it gets really cold, and you talked something about your truck winterizing it or something. Now,
well, this is a little interesting little thing.
I know it was.
We were expected, and we were expected to take good care of our vehicle, which of course means regular lubrication. And in those days, any filling station that had 2 or 3 pumps, and everybody had an attendant. They always came out and checked your tires and oil, and you washed your windshield and things in those days. And we made no effort to go to a Ford place to have the chassis greased. And I'll never know how I happened to turn into a Ford dealership, because I was going around the square in the center of Madison, Wisconsin, and I was ready for a lube job, and there was the Ford agency, and I found myself turning in. I still don't know why I picked the Ford agency, but because I did, the man who was lubricating my car said, "Sir, have you had your brake service for winter?" And I said, what do you mean service for winter? And he said, well, these brakes, there's a small cable that runs through a tube that goes down to the wheel that moves when you step on the pedal. And he said that for when winter comes on, if we flush that out clean and fill it with fresh, special-made grease, your brakes will work all winter. You'll have no problem with them. And I said, well, sounds like a good job to me. And he fixed it, and I had no brake trouble. But Dale Fauché was driving the sister to my truck, and he wasn't lucky enough to drive into a Ford dealership. And when the weather at Toma got down below 0, 15, and it was even 30 below 0 the morning we left there, his brakes would freeze. He could step on them and they would go on, but he couldn't get them to come on. Mine worked perfect. And that was just a matter of luck for me.